Guys, so I was thinking about this chaos that's happening in Mexico, and I wanted to kind of talk about that for a minute. It's kind of crazy, obviously very dangerous, and just scary to watch. Kind of sad. In case you haven't seen it, there's the death of a guy named El Mencho, who apparently was a big drug lord in Mexico, ahead of a major cartel. And since that time, there's been just complete chaos there. They're setting things on fire, and it's all kinds of stuff happening there. And I have some friends there, so it's kind of wild. One of my friends did a live stream, and in the back behind her head, there was smoke coming up, like from a building that was on fire. And so I wanted to give you some ways to kind of process this, some stuff that maybe media isn't going to talk about. And I'll be very, very brief with this. So the first thing is that when you talk about this kind of violence in the cartels and everything, there's a huge number of economic angles here. Now, first thing you should notice about the situation is, someone's asking, are Americans safe over there? I think that they are, but I understand why an American wouldn't want to go there right now. And the reason I think that they're safe is because I want you to notice, and to my knowledge, not one single person's been killed, right? Not one person lost their life outside of the original incident where they went to go get the drug dealer. I think there were people killed there, but all the chaos and terror and everything, people running and screaming through the airports, I think it was strategic. They said, "Look, we don't want to kill nobody, because if we kill an American, Trump's gonna come over here. He's gonna drop a bomb on our compound, right? I think Trump, he knows he's got the most powerful military on earth." And literally, he's like, I wish a ninja would, I think Trump literally would like swoop through with, some bomber, or I don't know, some stealth something, whatever, right? Because I think that that's the kind of thing he likes to do, right? Because he's very passionate about the fentanyl crisis and stopping that. So I think if they took out one American, then I think there'd be hell to pay. I think that absolutely positively he wouldn't be stopped by anybody. So notice nobody's gotten hurt though, from what I understand. Like since the chaos started, right? They've been blowing up gas stations, catching cars on fire, burning down buildings, and I think it's deliberately done, mostly for economic reasons and the economics of terror. Since that happened, number one, first thing you're doing is you're jacking up the tourism industry, right? When people are scared, they're not going to come to your country, right? So our daughter just got invited to go to Mexico for a scholarship or for something, and we were like, should she go? We don't know. I don't know if we want to. Nobody wants. You don't even want to take a chance. You don't want to send your child to Mexico when you're seeing this on TV. I think they got the World Cup coming to Mexico, right? That's an issue. So the first thing the government's going to do is they're going to scramble to try to protect the economics, because I believe what the cartels are doing is they're saying, okay, you messed up our money, we're going to mess up your money. And we're not going to kill anybody, but we're going to create fear. Fear is more powerful than actually hurt anybody. If you just scare the shit out of people, then that's going to impact, a lot of things. It impacts supply chains. Mexico is one of America's biggest trading partners. So companies aren't going to feel safe sending their workers to bring goods back and forth across the border if they think that something bad's going to happen. There's also in terms of financial markets, there's a lot of currency volatility, peso risk, things like that. So you can impact the value of the peso by creating this chaos. Foreign direct investment is impacted, and all kinds of things, right? So basically, what I saw was, honestly, at first I saw danger. I was like everybody else, like, oh my God. Because think about this. Cartels know how to kill people, right? Do we agree? Like, cartels know how to take a sucker out if they want to. They know how to make sure that somebody's life comes to an end, right? Are we not in agreement on that? They're very good at that. So you would ask yourself, like, if you're so great at taking people out, how come you didn't take anybody out? How come you didn't just go in there and just, eye for an eye? They took your boy out, you take their boys out. Because I think that they are thinking about the economics. I think that they realize, number one, if they do kill Americans, then next thing you know, they're at war with America. That's going to disrupt business, right? You ain't selling no more dope after that. They'll nuke you, right? like you'll be gone. But then number two, I think that they're just sort of proclaiming economic war on the Mexican government and basically saying, okay, you stepped over the line by doing this thing, which was probably unacceptable before, because I believe I believe in Mexico is kind of a narco state. Like I don't think that the government really runs everything. The government's kind of infiltrated by the cartels. Right. Also, just like in the United States, we have something similar. It's not as sinister though, but like our cartels are like, big social media companies and the billionaires, right? So our cartels, our oligarchs are running our government. Their cartels, I believe, are running part of their government. So I think that there was probably some agreement like, hey, look, you don't mess with us too much. We won't mess with you too much. We'll pretend like we're enemies. We'll pretend like you'll pretend like you're coming to get us, but you never will. Those wascally wabbits will always slip away. And so for them to really step in and actually do something, I think that probably led them to say, okay, we're going to retaliate. But what's interesting is, I see a retaliation that what do they call it? Proportionate. I think they call it proportionate. You have to be proportionate in your retaliation, right? You have to. If somebody slaps you, you don't pull out a gun and shoot them. If they slap you, you slap them back. Maybe you slap them a little harder than they slapped you, but you don't like punch them in the face or stab them with a knife. Right? Unless they stab you with a knife, in which case you might stab with a bigger knife or go get you a gun, right? So I don't think their goal is to really escalate. I think their goal was to kind of make a point. And they did. They probably cost the Mexican government several $billions in tourism money that's lost, foreign investment that's going to be lost, supply chain disruption, like financial market volatility, where asset prices are immediately killed because of all the chaos. And just for the record, I see that as a buying opportunity. If you can stomach this sort of mild geopolitical risk, then that would make for a great investing opportunity. And so that's what I see. All right. So anyway, I don't want to talk about this all day. I just wanted to hit you up real quick about it. And also in about 12 minutes, Dr. Alicia, my wife, is going to do a training on the metaphysics of money. She's an expert on the subconscious mind. She's a psychologist. In the Black Business School, we created the first ever Black financial therapy department. No university that we know of anywhere has a Black financial therapy department. So we have the best therapists that come together to basically focus on and do original research on the psychological barriers that keep us from building Black wealth. So if you want to join us in the Stock Market Investing Club, maybe catch the recording, feel free to go to drboystockmarket.com. That's drboystockmarket.com. So that's the URL. I can put the link there, but don't worry about the link. Just drboystockmarket.com, or you go to any other post, put the word stock in any post in the comments, and I'll send you a link to get some resources where we can support you and help you. Now, somebody said, are you going to talk about T.I. and 50 Cent? Actually, I did. This morning, I did a deep dive about T.I. and 50 Cent and the economic angle of it, which was really fascinating. And I focused on the fact that T.I. brands himself as a king. And first we talked about hip hop beef and how hip hop beef is economic, right? 50 Cent understands that, right? He knows that beef sells records, beef makes money, stuff like that. But then there's the branding aspect, right? These two guys branded in separate ways. T.I. brands himself as the king of the South. He's been, I'm a king, I'm a king, I'm a king, I'm a king, I'm a king. 50 Cent branded himself by, I got shot 9 times. So he used storytelling to build his brand. And he told the story. One of his most popular songs starts off with him getting shot up and whatever, because we love watching Black people get shot. That's fun for us, right? So we can't say Black Lives Matter because it don't really matter. Because, Black men get shot on the album. We start dancing. They call us niggas. We dance even harder. We like, oh, nigga got shot. What? Right? So it's kind of sick, kind of crazy, but whatever. I'm not judging. Maybe I am. But anyway, so 50 Cent branded himself through the storytelling, and then you drop a Dr. Dre beat on it. So he's kind of a gimmick with a nice beat, right? That's what he became. T.I., in my view, branded himself with the whole king persona, but also he was a lyricist. If you listen to T.I. and 50 Cent, which I've listened to both of them for a long time, T.I. is lyrically extraordinary. He's really good. He can flow like no other. 50 Cent can't really match that. He's got a big brand, but he's not. So it's almost like a gourmet restaurant going up against McDonald's. McDonald's is big, but the food is not super high quality, whereas T.I. really, truly is a lyricist, right? But the interesting thing, too, the other thing that I brought into this from an economic standpoint was the king branding with T.I. And I said, okay, he calls himself a king, but what is a king? And if you notice, actually the three tools that impact the subconscious mind are symbolism, repetition, and trauma, right? So hip hop loves to market trauma. The symbolism of hip hop is, I got the gun on this side, the cocaine on the other side, big booty lady in the back seat in a bikini. I'm driving a Lamborghini. I'm smoking something, drinking something. All those are symbols. Those are all symbols. So never overlook the impact of symbolism. T.I. uses symbolism in his song. Did anybody see his video? Let me know if you saw his video. In his video, the symbolism was family. The symbolism was, here's me, my mother's over here, my wife's over here, my kids are around the table. I'm sitting here as a king with my family, and we're all doing well because we are a kingdom, we are a unit, we are a team, right? So the symbolism of family and the use of the word king is very deep and meaningful. And I said, so what makes a king, right? Here's what the research says in terms of what makes a person a king. A king has to have, number one, a king must have a queen. 50 Cent has no queen. 50 Cent has video vixens. He has hoes. He has women, right? He's a PIMP. He ain't no KING, right? like 50 Cent's song was, I'm a PIMP. T.I. says, I'm a KING, right? A king is different from a pimp, right? Kings have queens, pimps have hoes. Number two, a king has, an economic base to his kingdom. Both of these guys are doing well financially, so that's there. A king has succession planning, legacy planning, right? So succession and legacy planning means that you're training the next generation to continue the vision of the king, to extend the vision of the king. Also, a king must also have, theoretically, historically, a bloodline. You have to have a bloodline. So T.I. has always had a bloodline. Now, 50 Cent is celibate, and he's a PIMP, and he's got hoes, but he ain't got no queen. He doesn't have much of a bloodline. The other thing, too, here's another difference between T.I. and 50 Cent. T.I. represents king culture because also a king's household must be orderly. Orderly. It must be orderly, not chaotic. So like men who splatter babies' mamas everywhere, that's not king-like behavior historically anyway. It's a little bit sloppy. Whereas T.I. is a guy that says, here, I got my wife here, my children, they know who they are. And in fact, his children, if you listen to him rap about his kids, he always raps about his kids as if he's preparing them to take over the bloodline, right? And now you see his sons. Two of his sons have over 1 million followers on Instagram, and both of his sons are really talented musical artists. And so you can see that comes from training from their father, right? So there's more in terms of what makes a king. I talked about that today in class. We do class every morning, financial class, and it was a deep economic lesson. Because what it speaks back to is that the reason black wealth drops is that we're not building our families as kingdoms, right? We're not building our families as kingdoms. We're not behaving like kings. We're not behaving like queens. The women aren't. Men are trying to have sex with the girl with the biggest booty. The women are trying to chase men that are over 6 feet tall. They can give them good sex. And there's no sort of succession planning. There's no legacy discussion. There's no sort of like, okay, what does this mean? Like, what are we creating that's bigger than ourselves? And that's where you're missing a lot of this. So again, I'm not here to put any rapper on a pedestal, but I am here to be a little bit biased and to say, I kind of relate a little bit more to what T.I. actually tries to personify in his branding. Also, I like the elevation. I like the grown man nature of it. I like the fact that, 50 Cent, unfortunately, his behavior isn't indistinguishable from a teenager. If you look at what he does on social media, he pretty much does what the 25-year-olds do. But T.I. is saying, no. I've got kids. I got grown kids, right? And pretty soon I'm going to be a grandfather, which is a different kind of thing. I'm still young. I have swag and all that, but I know that I'm not as young as I used to be, and I'm having some legacy planning. And I would encourage you, if you want to just sort of grab something from this, you know me, I don't want to just gossip about what's going on, and you can debate about who the best rapper is. I don't know if I told you what my opinion is, but it's deeper than that. It's like you're talking about culture, right? And culture is the driver of black wealth. The reason black wealth has dropped is because black culture has dropped. You can't have wealth without culture. Do you understand? Does that make sense? I hope you get what I'm saying. All right. So anyway, I gotta go. Yeah, if you're on Instagram, put the word stock in the comments on any post. Don't put it here, but put it on any post, and I'll send you a link to some stocks that I like. There's a lot of good ways to invest, stuff like that. I teach my PhDs in finance. You guys know that, but I'm also a black man, right? So, and I'm a fan of a lot of stuff. And what I find is that there's a lot of connection in terms of wealth and all these things that are happening culturally. That's all deeply connected, and that's what it is. Okay, so let's see. Somebody says you're talking about T Clown. What about Jay Morrison? Yeah, Jay Morrison and the Tulsa Fund. That was a problem. That was a mistake. I lost $10,000 from that fund. I wouldn't invest in it again. I wish him the best with that. You know, it was kind of messed up. Actually, Jay and T.I., I think that they were friends. I don't know. I assume that they still are. And I think that the Tulsa Fund was sad. But at the same time, the thing about investing that you got to understand is, number one, never invest in something where you can't afford to lose the money, because investments go bad all the time. Number two, do your due diligence. Make sure you look into the things you invest in. And then number three, investing requires resilience. Resilience means that you take an L and you keep moving. It doesn't mean you dwell on the L forever. If you dwell on the L, then you're going to stay in hell, right? So if you want to stay in hell, then just dwell on the L and don't look forward to the next win, because you're still stuck talking about the last loss. Does that make sense? So, so the Tulsa Fund was unfortunate, but it was an L. You know, that's what it is, right? Businesses fail all the time. It happens. That's just what it is. All right. So anyway, I got to go, guys. Have a good day. God bless you. I'll see you later. Talk to you soon. Peace.